Welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today I've got another exciting episode and we're going to be reviewing and deep diving into this big massive stack of TV series and upcoming 4K Ultra HD movie releases. Now these were sent for review early. I actually got these in about 2.5 weeks early before the release date for me to dive into and test all of these for all of you. I've got a ton of information to share in this video. Do my side-by-side 4K versus Blu Ray image comparisons on some of these 4Ks, and then talk about these TV series as well, how exciting these are. I got all this information and data I've pulled from all of these discs that I'm going to be sharing with my review scores at the end of each and every one of these. That always lets you know if these are actually worth buying, if any of these are worth adding to your collection, or if they are something you should skip. And as you've noticed recently, there have been some releases that you should skip. So I've got a bunch of exciting information for us to dive into today in this fun episode. Now, it's always very important that if you're gonna buy any of these releases after you hear my review scores in these videos, and you wanna add any of these to your collection, always go down to the pinned comment I've posted in the comment section right below this video. I've put the direct Amazon sale links for every single one of these right down there below. Those links down there never cost you, the viewer, even a penny extra when you click on them, but they are very important to the continued creation of all of these exclusive videos you watch here on my YouTube channel. So, if you decide you're gonna buy or add any of these to your collection, make sure to go down and use those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. Now, starting off here with The Last Castle Blu-ray. I actually just recently got this in 2021. That was when Paramount released the Blu-ray release. I can tell you when it came out, I enjoyed the Blu-ray, but it's a soft transfer. It really just has a soft image, very, very muted. Now, there are certain scenes intentionally where they actually have more of like a hazy, almost kind of like overcast color appearance to it. Well, on the previous Blu-ray, it kind of made it worse because it's just a very soft appearance overall, and then on top of that, those hazy scenes or an overcast scenes where the colors are very desaturated really just look completely grayed out altogether. And it's just not a beautiful Blu-ray presentation. I enjoyed it because the DVD was really poor, so it was an upgrade from that. Well, for this new 4K release, I'm happy to report this is a native 4K 2160p, and it was created from a brand new 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negative. So that makes a difference in what you see depth and detail-wise as well, drastically over the previous Blu-ray. Gone is kind of that hazy appearance that appeared throughout the Blu-ray that gave it just a very soft transfer. It's a very nicely detailed image on this because of that brand new 4K scan they did of the original 35mm camera negative. But there's another increase in this. You also get a brand new Dolby Vision and HDR10 master, which breathes a lot of life. Like I was explaining about on the previous Blu-ray at the beginning here, it did have a lot of scenes that had a very overcast gray appearance overall. Tones for skins were just completely grayed out. Everything in those scenes was just very gray altogether. In this, it does bring a lot of needed life where you can actually see better skin tones in those scenes. No, it's not a vibrant in those scenes, but it is a noticeable increase in depth, detail, and obviously colors. Look drastically better on this new 4K than they did on the previous Blu-ray transfer. Now, there is something important I want to talk about with this film. It is severely underrated. If you have not seen this film yet, when it came out in cinemas, a lot of people missed out on watching it. And I will tell you, it's one of my favorite Robert Redford performances. He is phenomenal in it, let alone the supporting cast in this is a who's who of actors from the 90s and 2000s. Man, James Gandolfini's in this, and he's great in this. And I will tell you, it has one of those beautiful orchestral scores done by the great Jerry Goldsmith. And let me tell you, I still have this soundtrack on CD, and it is absolutely beautiful. When you get done with the film, it ties so well together with the absolutely beautiful story about honor, about doing what's right in the face of even if nobody stands with you. And it's such a beautiful story that I really feel like a lot of people have never given a chance to and have never seen it. You will be amazed at how much you enjoy this film alone, regardless of the transfer between Blu-ray and 4K and the 4K being better. The actual film itself is a must-watch film because it is such a beautiful story, and the score and the acting go so well together. You'll watch this and say, I can't believe I never saw this great film back in 2001, but let me tell you, this is one of those underrated and hidden gems of films that the film alone is worth experiencing. Now, make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Now, talking about the 4K image, it does have a nice stable layer of film grain from beginning to end. It was not taken away. I hate to use the term DNR because it really doesn't explain all the different programs there are, but the program Neat, things like that, was not used. They did not take away that film grain. This new 4K scan they did of the original 35mm camera negative shines through well on this. You can see the film grain nicely, depth and detail is very nice, and it is a dramatic improvement over that Blu Ray in every single area of the image. Now, talking about the audio, this does have English, DTS, HD Master Audio, 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes. I can tell you the 5.1 is a very robust, very clean and clear and very enjoyable audio mix. It does have some good LFE on it. It does move things around. Overall, you can hear everything going on, even the action scenes, the dialogue, the musical score comes through the best I have ever heard it on this 4K release. I did enjoy the previous Blu Ray. I thought the audio mix on it was good. But I will tell you, this one does sound slightly better. I was noticing it when I put them side by side and I would play one, then I put this one in and listen to the same scene. This one does just sound better in quite a few areas, clarity, and the musical score just stood through so much better and so much cleaner sounding than it did on the previous Blu Ray, that it did get an upgrade on this as well that I was very pleasantly surprised with. And I am happy to report, along with the film grain having no fluctuations or issues, there was no fluctuations and no issues with the audio mix either. So I didn't have any issues where it went really loud, really quiet, I'm turning it up and down, I can't hear dialogue. No issues whatsoever were present with that either. Now, showing what you get in this, you do get this first pressing slipcover. Again, Kino Lorber limited edition first pressing slipcovers only. So I will put the direct Amazon sale link down below if you're wanting to pre-order or buy this, but remember, these only come in the first pressings. Once they're past that, you don't get slipcovers anymore. They are limited edition. Side, it does say Last Castle in red, Paramount's logo, Kino Lorber. Talks about it. You do get audio commentaries with the original director, Rod Lurie. You also get Rod Lurie behind the scenes featurette, HBO first look, A Hero's Farewell, alternate endings, featurettes, deleted scenes, optional audio commentaries, theatrical trailers. So quite a nice selection of special features on this that did surpass what you got on the previous Blu Ray as well. Now, I did dive into and test out each of these discs as I always exclusively do. 4K Ultra HD disc is 100% region free. Blu Ray disc is 100% region A locked. Now, I did dive into the rough average bitrate and test that out for all of you. I can tell you this has an extremely high, healthy, and strong 89 megabits per second. It is one of those amazing jobs they did, not compressing it down, over compressing the image, or giving it any shortcuts on that made it a lower quality image. It truly is the best way I've ever seen The Last Castle look since I originally saw it in theaters twice. And I'm going to reference that again in case you missed it at the beginning. This film is severely underrated and it is highly recommended as a film. It's about honor and doing what's right, and just, I can't tell you, watching it again and hearing that beautiful score by Jerry Goldsmith, it gets me every single time. Now, getting to my review score for this upcoming 4K Ultra HD release of The Last Castle. This gets an excellent 9.3. It is a must buy. You need to buy, have in your collection. You will enjoy watching this over and over again. It's one of those pieces of filmmaking that too many people have not heard of and have not seen. If you like Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, and the massive list of supporting cast that's in it, it's really a who's who. You'll sit back, enjoy the wonderful story, and you'll say, man, I can't believe I missed out on this. I am so glad I got to experience this on 4K, and you'll come back and thank me. That is how much I recommend this film. 9.3, excellent job by Paramount and Kino Lorber. This is a must buy on 4K and thankfully looks absolutely amazing and is one of those you will really enjoy this 4K upgrade. Now, if you want a recommendation of another really good prison film, you'll want to check out Escape from Alcatraz. That's a Clint Eastwood classic film. It got a really good 4K release as well. I did the review here on my YouTube channel. If you haven't checked that out yet, it's available right now for you to watch. It's a good prison escape film, and I do enjoy Clint Eastwood's performance in that. So if you haven't checked out that film, you want to check that out here on this YouTube channel. It's available after you get done watching this video. So if you decide you're going to buy and add these to your collection now, I put that direct Amazon sale link right down there below. Next up, we have the 1957 classic Western Gunfight at the OK Corral. This is the story about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. It's been told numerous times, and there's actually numerous films about it. This one has Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas in it, and it's a very enjoyable Western film. And I can tell you this new 4K is a native 4K 2160p, and it was created from a brand new 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negative. And it also has a brand new Dolby Vision and HDR10 master. I can tell you the new scan they did with that new Dolby Vision HDR10 master does bring new and needed life to this film. On the previous Blu Ray release, it was good, but I will say the colors were more muted, less lifelike skin tones and things like that. It did just have a more duller color palette that thankfully is fixed with the brand new Dolby Vision HDR10 master on this. I will tell you between both of those, the HDR10 and Dolby Vision, I really didn't notice any variance between those. Whether you have Dolby Vision or HDR10 on your home display, you'll enjoy both no matter what, because it's a very nice added increase in what they give you color-wise, color depth and variance. And I will say that new scan brings in much more depth and detail in the image than what was present in the previous Blu Ray as well, and it's noticeable. I was surprised at things I'd never noticed before. Fabric on clothing and hair on the face and hair on the head, like little things that you just didn't see as much detail on the previous Blu Ray are very noticeable and easily seen on this new 4K transfer. Now, I'm happy to report this has a very nice natural layer of film grain on it from beginning to end as well. They didn't remove it. Now, here's the only thing though. It does have some slight inconsistencies and fluctuations, along with some very brief and barely noticeable digital noise. And I'll tell you, I had to look pretty darn hard to see the digital noise. So I always report on those things when I encounter them, when I go through my testing. But it was very brief, the digital noise, and 99% of people will never pick up on it when it shows up a few times in the darker scenes. Otherwise, the actual film grain itself does have some fluctuations and instabilities, but it's not horrible, and it really is one of those just beautiful 4K transfers that you'll really be surprised the vistas and what you can see and the towns. And I love Western films. This is one of those amazing Western classics that I've always really enjoyed. I've never seen it look this good though as it does on this 4K transfer. It was a very nice surprise because sometimes we get Western releases on 4K that they're good, but they're not amazing. This one is really a beautiful 4K transfer. And I can tell you the 4K image was dramatically helped by the very good Dolby Vision and HDR10 implementation, which is what can really make a difference when you do a new 4K scan and restoration, you come back and release this on 4K. They did a very good job with that implementation of the HDR and Dolby Vision, and it shines through greatly on this 4K release. Now, audio-wise, you get an English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes. I can tell you it sounds exceptionally clear and clean. There was only some slight like hisses and clicks you could hear, but they were slight, and I had to listen pretty hard. They sound much better than the previous Blu Ray release, and I will tell you, the audio has been cleaned up a little bit for this 4K release as well, so that was a nice and healthy improvement as well. Now, show what you get in this. You do get this nice slipcover, limited edition slipcover. Talks about it on the side saying Gunfight at the OK Corral and Paramount's logo. Talks about it here, you do get an audio commentary included. And then inside here, this is your 4K. I tested it for all of you, 100% region free. Blu-ray disc is 100% region A locked. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. I can tell you this has a shockingly high, healthy, and strong rough average bitrate of 95 megabits per second. It is one of those jaw-dropping, wow experiences. They did an amazing job with this high and healthy rough average bitrate from beginning to end. It's a very beautiful 4K image that really you'll be surprised at how much of an improvement it really is over the previous Blu-ray, that you'll sit back and say, man, for a Western film, this looks outstanding. Now, getting to my review score. For Gunfight at the OK Corral with Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, This gets a beautiful 9.5. It's a must buy. You're gonna need to buy, add to your collection. If you like Western films, classic films at all, this is one of those you need to have in your collection. It's got two amazing stars at the top of their prime, Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas. There's a ton of other cast and characters throughout it that you'll really enjoy. And it's a good story about the gunfight at the OK Corral. I will say I enjoy Kurt Russell's performance and obviously Val Kilmer's in Tombstone, which is similar story, Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp. I do enjoy that simply because I went to see that in theaters. I obviously wasn't old enough to see this originally in theaters when it came out, so I do have a special place in my heart for Tombstone. I've been hoping for years that that will be released with a new 4K restoration because I love that film. But in the meantime, I've got this to enjoy, and this is a must-buy, beautiful 4K release. 9.5. Let me know if you've seen this film. Let me know if you're excited for any of these 4K releases. As always, start that conversation down there in the comment section below and let me know what of these you're excited for, what of these you're looking forward to, because a lot of these come out here in about 2.5 weeks. So you'll be excited for when these come out because this is a must-buy that you'll really enjoy. Now, if you're wanting to add this to your collection, I put the direct Amazon sale link for this directly down below. Now, another recommendation of another great Burt Lancaster action classic would be The Train. I did an exclusive review on that here on this YouTube channel already. It is on 4K. It's another great Burt Lancaster film, but if you have not checked it out yet, it's by one of my favorite directors, John Frankenheimer, as well. If you haven't checked out that review, it's available right now, and that's another classic film that got a great 4K restoration. Next up, we've got the sci-fi horror thriller classic from 1989, Leviathan. This is by George P. Cosmatos, and he did a lot of 1980s action classics. This is one of those, I don't like to call it a rip on Aliens because I think it's its own thing. I think it doesn't go down the same path that Aliens does. It has its own, obviously, story that's more or less about mutations and basically science fiction elements on Earth. So to me, it's its own thing, and I enjoy the performances of Peter Weller in it. I think Peter Weller is really good in it, just like he was in RoboCop. If you haven't checked out my RoboCop review, that's available right now here on this channel, and I think he was great in that. I think he's just as good in this, and I do think the set pieces, like the underwater, like mining facility, is really grand. How it wasn't done with basically CGI. It was all a built set with big steel pieces, and you feel very grounded in this universe. Obviously, their underwater suits, you feel like really just look like something they would have used that deep in the sea, and you really feel like everything is a very grounded universe, which lends greatly to the story because I do like the practical effects they use as well with the puppetry, and obviously all of the makeup and goo they use to present the creatures in this really is a cool effect, and I really think holds up well today. Well, for this new 4K, it is a native 4K 2160p, and it was created from a brand new 4K scan of the 35mm interpositive. I can tell you this has a brand new Dolby Vision and HDR10 master, which compared to the previous Shout Factory Blu Ray release I own, makes a drastic difference in what you can see. I will tell you this previous Shout Factory Blu Ray release from 2014, I enjoyed it. It went out of print, obviously, and people have been paying tons of money for these. Probably should have sold mine a long time ago when it was worth a whole lot more, but I still have it, and it's one of those things I've had in my collection since the beginning. But actually, the nighttime and underwater scenes, and a lot of the scenes when they're running through the ship, were hard to see on this Blu-ray. They were almost black crush or gray crush, as I like to call it. There was numerous scenes that were more difficult to see under the water. I can tell you on this new 4K release, they did a great job with the implementation of HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Though I will tell you the Dolby Vision was the clear winner on this. It was an easy 5% better looking than the HDR10. But both of them on the underwater scenes, like especially when they first discover the Leviathan, the ship that's under the water, there were some things I'd never seen before on the floor of the ocean that they're walking past that I could see in this because you could actually see it easier because they did such a good job with the implementation of the lights to darks without having any black crush. This has brilliant whites, inky blacks, no black crush, so you can see things like the white sand of the sea floor and then the blue of the ocean water, and then you could see things around that I could never see on the previous Blu-ray transfer, which to me was a massive upgrade because on this previous Blu-ray release, it was hard to see a lot of those things. Whereas this, especially like the creature effects, you can see them now and see them easier than you could on this previous Blu-ray transfer. Now, I'm happy to report this new 4K has the natural film grain in it from beginning to end. Though I will say, on a lot of the scenes underwater, under the ocean, or darker scenes, there are quite a bit of fluctuations in the film grain, and you will notice some slight film grain clumping. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it does affect, obviously, the image as you're watching it. It's still a massive improvement, depth, and detail over the previous Blu-ray. So in all those areas, I'll take that slight clumping and instabilities in the film grain for such a massive improvement overall in the image over that previous Blu-ray. Now, I have some more good news to share about this. They did clean up a bunch of spots, speckles, black spots, and also fix the film shakes, where basically when you're watching it, you kind of notice the image shaking. They were all present on this previous Blu-ray release, and you could notice a lot more of them on this previous Blu-ray, including those film shakes where you kind of notice the film shaking slightly. That's all been repaired on this and fixed. Gone are all of those. I will say blots, specks, spotches, all of that, they've all been repaired and fixed on this. It really is a very nice 4K that they released. Now, audio-wise, you get an English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes. Now, this is where there's a slight downside, not necessarily against this 4K release, just the audio mixes themselves. Both on the previous Blu-ray release and this new 4K, they've always had a slightly softer sounding audio mix with fluctuations. And I will say the fluctuations are pretty strong on the 5.1. They aren't as noticeable on the 2.0 on both of these, but I will say it's still one of those things when you watch the 5.1 on this, it is cleaner and clearer sounding, so you can hear dialogue better than you could on the previous Blu-ray, but the same instabilities where all of a sudden it'll get really loud, then it'll go directly to a scene, very next scene of somebody talking, and it's very quiet. And you have to turn it up, then all of a sudden it gets really loud, you gotta turn it down, turn it up. So that's something that's kind of always existed, and it doesn't really matter that they released it on 4K versus the previous Blu-ray. It's easier to hear the dialogue slightly on this 4K, but those instabilities that existed on the previous Blu-ray and the previous releases before that, they're still present on this, so it just seems to be baked into the original film. Unless they did a brand new audio restoration, you're always going to have those fluctuations, it seems like. So just understand that you're going to have to sit with your remote, go up, down on the audio. So that's one of those things I just wish there was a way that they could have gotten rid of that completely, because I really don't like having to do that with the remote. Now, showing what you get in this limited edition slipcover. I really like the artwork on here. Side, it says Leviathan, MGM's logo. Talks about on the back here, you get audio commentaries and a bunch of special features. And I can tell you on this 4K release, it blows away the special features on this. You did not get very many special features on the Shout Factory Blu-ray. You get quadruple as many on this. You get Surviving Leviathan, you get Dissecting Cobb, Leviathan, Monster Melting Pot featurette, audio commentaries, theatrical trailers. On your previous Blu-ray, you got a couple interviews and a theatrical trailer, that is it. So this one definitely wins for special features wise as well. Now, showing what you get in this, you do get reversible cover artwork. I really like that added touch. I love having the extra, like, different cover artworks. So on your limited edition slipcover, you get this one. So remember, this truly is a limited edition. Once this is gone, so is this. And then you get your reversible cover artwork with another artwork on it. I really like that they included two different covers. Now, inside here, 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray disc. Blu-ray is 100% Region A locked. Tested it, as I always do for all of you. So this one is 100% Region A locked, 4K, 100% region free. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. I can tell you this has a shockingly high, extremely healthy, and strong 91 megabits per second. Another stellar, outstanding job with the rough average bitrate, not compressing things down. Really lends to why I said it's such a big upgrade over the previous Blu-ray. Every category, even though I have those issues with the audio, and like I said, those clumping and film grain things, still, depth, detail, and colors. Man, do the colors shine through brilliantly on this, skin tones and everything, over the previous Blu-ray release that had a more grayish tone to skin tones. They really didn't have as much life or vibrancy that they do on this brand new 4K release that brings this film to brand new life. And let me tell you, this is the best way I've ever experienced watching this film as well. Now, getting to my review score. Because of some of those inconsistencies and things that I just would have been cleaned up just a little bit more. this still gets a terrific 9.1 and is a must buy. You need to buy and add to your collection. 9.1 is one of those must buy review scores. This film is one of those cult classic sci-fi horror thriller films that if you haven't experienced it yet, if you like Aliens, which this is not to me an Aliens knockoff, but if you like Aliens or you like Deep Star 6, there's numerous films around that time period that came out that were really enjoyable sci-fi films. This is one of those that I absolutely love. The practical effects in this, watching it again, really shows how great practical effects really were. And today, I really wish more films use practical effects instead of CGI. I just like the rubbery, blubbery, bloody, gooey look of them. Man, they were so cool. And they looked great on this 4K release and still hold up. And to me, they stand the test of time because they're supposed to look otherworldly. And it's so physical and gritty. And I really enjoy that experience. This film did a great job with it. Aliens did a great job with it, which I'll have some exciting news to share with all of you very soon. I just talked with my contacts at the studio at 20th Century directly, and I've got some exciting news I'll be sharing in a video here this week that's coming up that I'm working on. But man, I got some exciting news for all of you. There's going to be some stuff coming out here, big stuff. But let me just tell you, this is very exciting. I was thrilled with how this one turned out. 9.1. Some of those things, like I said, did affect the review score. I would have loved it to have been higher than that, but it still came out with a terrific 9.1 as a must buy. Let me know if you're excited to buy this and add this to your collection. Start that conversation down there below. If you're going to buy this and add this to your collection now, use that direct Amazon sale link down there below. Those are always very important to the creation of every one of these videos. Next up, we have the 1945 classic Fritz Lang film, Scarlet Street. Now this new 4K is the native 4K, and it was specifically created from a new 16-bit 4K scan of the 35mm nitrate composite fine grain. I can tell you though, starting off with this film, it was a rougher intro. It does have blots, specks, spotches, little tears, hairs. Honestly, it's not the best 4K release I've seen of a classic film. You know, I've reviewed hundreds of black and white classic films over the years. I love classic films. I'm really excited when they release all of these because I think they do lend great to 4K releases if done correctly, especially with very good Dolby Vision and HDR10 implementation, which this has. They did a good job with the implementation. Lights to darks look very good on it. There was some slight black crushing scenes that I did notice a few times, but it wasn't heavy. Overall, the things I did notice is it's just a rough looking film. You can't go into this thinking it's going to look amazing. It's not one of those that got a multi-million-dollar restoration. It's just a rougher looking film. Blots, splotches, hairs, tears, they appear throughout the entire thing. I can't really say there was any real scenes that went by that you didn't really have some sort of any of those in the scene itself. And I can tell you it does have the natural film grain in it, though the film grain is very inconsistent, has lots of fluctuations. There's flashing with the film grain. It gets heavy, it gets blotchy, it gets where it clumps together. Then you'll have times where it's got waves in the film grain. It's just kind of all over the place. It's not a pristine 1945 film. I understand that it's never been handled great. It wasn't stored great, so it has a lot of damage on it. But a lot of that you will notice on this compared to previous releases though. This does look quite a bit better than those. So it's kind of one of those things, the previous releases were just horrible. And the previous releases were so poor that honestly I would never recommend people really watching the previous releases at all because they were just that poor. This is a massive upgrade over those. It's just that it's still got so much work that could have been done. I mean, it really is just so many things in this film, so many inconsistencies, so many blots, splotches, and hairs and specks. Same thing for the audio on this. It does have English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0, but it does have hisses, clicks. It has lots of inconsistencies where sometimes it's harder to hear dialogue. Sometimes the dialogue is very shrill and sharp. So again, the dialogue's not perfect on it either, but on previous releases, it was way worse. So it does sound better on this. But again, you gotta temper your expectations. If you go into this expecting this to be like the Maltese Falcon, which I previously reviewed that with an exclusive review here on this channel, if you haven't checked that out yet, that's a wonderful classic film that got an amazing 4K restoration for both the audio and the visual quality. This one's not on that level. This did not get nearly the cleanup work or the restoration for both audio or visual, so that's why you need to understand that going into this. Now, showing you getting this limited edition slipcover with the artwork on it. I do like that. It says Scarlet Street on it. On the back here, you do get audio commentaries. Now, you also get reversible cover artwork. I do like when they include that reversible cover artwork. That way you get two different options, whichever one you want on the limited edition slipcover, or if you want this cover artwork. Now, inside here, I tested the discs for you. I am happy to report both discs in this set are 100% region free. Thankfully, for the first one in this review video, both discs are 100% region free. You won't have any issues playing these anywhere worldwide, Blu-ray or the 4K. Now, I did dive into the rough average bitrate, and I am happy to report it has an extremely high, healthy, and strong 89 megabits per second. So it's a very healthy, rough average bitrate for it. It's just because of the original film elements, how damaged they are. Basically, the scan they did kind of brought more to life a lot of those hairs, specks, spotches, blotches. I mean, it's just all over the place there. Film grain is all over the place. It's just not a consistent viewing experience, though I'm happy it was released on 4K because, as I said, the previous releases were just really horrible and poor. But this is still a big upgrade over the previous releases of this film. It's just for a classic film. It's not going to be amazing looking when you watch it. Getting to my review score. For Scarlet Street on 4K Ultra HD, this gets a 7.8. It's one of those, I recommend the classic film. This is the best way to ever experience this film. It's just if you're one of those new to collecting 4Ks or new to watching classic films, there's other ones I would suggest you start with, like Casablanca. I reviewed that here on this channel. That got an amazing 4K restoration. If you have not checked out that film, I would suggest starting with a classic film like that, so you kind of see that's a massive restoration. If you enjoy classic films like I do, and you understand that a lot of the times they're not going to get as big a restoration as like Casablanca did, this is one of those releases I did enjoy. I'm very glad to have it in my collection, and I do enjoy these classic films on 4K. So go into it with that understanding. Depending on whether you're a classic film collector or not, whether you're like me or whether you're new, will kind of determine what you're wanting to dive into with this release. Let me know down below. Do you love classic black and white films? Do you love films like this? Casablanca, The Maltese Falcon? Do you love collecting them like I do? Start that conversation down there below and let me know. Next up, we have Monk Seasons 1 through Seasons 4. Now, previously I did review in a video that a lot of you didn't really watch because it seems like a lot of you didn't know that I reviewed tons of TV series and movies in it. But I did a ton of TV series Blu-ray reviews in that video that you're seeing up above. That video I dived into several different complete series sets, and I dived into and tested out Season 1 of Monk. Well, today I'm going to be covering the rest of what's been released and what's coming out. So I did get in Seasons 3 and 4. These are about 2.5 to 3 weeks early before the release date. So I did get those in to test out, and I have Season 1 and 2 that I previously reviewed as well. I can tell you that Monk is one of those classic mystery, comedy, murder mystery, kind of one of those really feel good, you can watch with the family. Just one of those wonderful series that a lot of the times, if you've ever seen like Columbo or Diagnosis Murder, Murder, She Wrote, Rockford Files, and even Psych, you kind of combine elements of all of those great classic murder mystery series. You got Monk. Monk's got its own spin though because he's got OCDs. He doesn't like to be dirty. Everything's got to be perfect and clean. And I really can associate with that. I have a connection to that after the car accident, and because of my trigeminal neuralgia and my severe nerve damage that causes severe pain, I cling to cleanliness. And that's something that I have that's a quirk of mine now. I never had it before. And basically the doctors explained that it comes from that I can't control the pain's so severe that I live with, that my mind has kind of clung to that I can clean things and I can keep things clean. So I clean all my Blu-ray cases, I clean all my 4K cases, I clean kind of constantly. I mean, not all of the time, it's not that bad, but I do clean things and I like to keep things clean, and that's kind of become a thing of mine that I try to tell myself not to, but then when I see dust on something, I gotta get a cloth and dust it off. And so I kind of connect to his OCD in that sense. So that's a little history about me that's kind of one of those things I really understand and connect to Monk with. Now, I had to put the cases down because they're getting heavy, and with my nerve damage and this long of a video from holding things and talking, and obviously the shaking that I get from my severe pain that causes pain shakes, I kind of have to limit things in videos sometimes. So for this, I'm going to be talking without holding them here for a little bit. So for Monk, they did get brand new 4K restorations of the original film elements for these Blu-ray releases. I can tell you they look outstanding. The 4K restorations on these really bring to life depth and detail in a Blu-ray that I think you'll be very surprised for a TV series on Blu-ray that gets a full 1080p HD release. Man, they've drawn every ounce of that 1080p HD that they possibly can with this new 4K restoration and 4K scan they did. Man, Monk looks very good. Now, other than I originally explained in that previous review of Season 1, the initial episode, which is basically 2 parts or a longer episode depending on what you choose, in these you do get multi-part episodes, you get extended episodes, and you get a ton of behind the scenes, featurettes, making of, talking about it. There is a ton of special features that are included in every single one of these seasons. Really enjoy watching all of those because you get some really funny stuff. Obviously, I love the actor that plays Monk. Tony Shalhoub does a great job in his portrayal. Really, I can't ever imagine anyone else portraying him. I'm very excited because they're coming out with a new film that wraps up the series, and I'm hoping that comes out on Blu-ray. The series itself is very enjoyable. It's one of my favorite mystery series. My wife absolutely loves it as well. And this new 4K restoration that they did for this series is really an eye-opener. Compared to the previous poor DVDs, it simply annihilates the DVDs in every single area, both audio quality and visual quality. It is a massive step up and upgrade over all the previous DVD releases. Now, showing what you get inside each of these individual seasons. You do get inside here a slipcover that has each of the episodes listed with a small description of it on the inside. Each of your discs tell you on it, obviously, the season, the episodes, how many is on it, and they all have a similar vibe between each of them, so you know where the discs belong, what episodes are included on them. I will say I really like their themes for these ongoing seasons. Cover artwork is as well. I think they're very clever. Now, I will answer a question I've gotten asked a lot. Will these be released in a complete series set later on? The answer to that is no. Just like Kino Lorber has explained before, each of these they release, just like all their previous Night Gallery releases and things like that, they release them in these individual seasons. They don't bundle them in a big complete season box later on. So if you're waiting, oh, I'm going to wait till I buy them all where it's all in one big box set, it's not coming. They are all in individual seasons for a reason. But I will tell you, the quality between all of these seasons from season 1 all the way through season 4 now, I've watched all of these, is the same amazing quality that I explained originally in the first review of Season 1. Now, getting to my review score for Season 1 through Season 4 of Monk on Blu-ray. These get an excellent 9.4. For a Blu-ray TV series set, this is one of the best looking Blu-ray TV series sets. It has natural film grain in it, and it looks very good. For a film TV series, I can't believe how good these look on Blu-ray, and really are a big surprise. Very filmic looking and just has a great natural filmic look to it. Now, as always, when I review Blu-ray TV series, I'm comparing them to previous Blu-ray TV series that I've reviewed. So keep that in mind. I've explained that hundreds of times here on this YouTube channel. I'm not comparing these Blu-ray images to a 4K Ultra HD release of Monk because there isn't one. So I compare these to the same quality of what you have of other Blu-ray TV series. And let me tell you, just like with Psych, you will really enjoy this. If you have not checked out my Psych complete series Blu-ray review on this channel, that's available right now as well. Monk comes highly recommended. You really need to have Psych and Monk in your collection. Every single one of these, I will post the direct Amazon sale links right down below. Kino Lorber and Universal with these 4K restorations is truly doing an amazing job. Excellent job, to be honest. 9.4 is a must buy for a TV series. The image quality and the sound quality on these, plus all of the special features, really can't be missed. Kino Lorber is doing some amazing job with TV series releases. We want to support these so they keep releasing these, because there are so many other TV series that I'm really hoping Kino Lorber does as well. Now, it's very important, if you're going to buy any of these releases I reviewed in this video, make sure to go down and use those direct Amazon sale links down there below. As I explain all the time, those never cost you a penny extra when you click on them. But that's how I can keep creating these videos. So by you clicking on those links down there, that's a way you can support this channel without it actually ever costing you anything extra. All you got to do is click on the link down there. Another big way to support the creation of these videos is through my Collectors VIP Club. That VIP Club is extremely important as well. You can give a couple of dollars every month. That goes back into the software and the creation of every one of these videos. I do want to say thank you to every single one of you that joined my Collectors VIP Club and uses those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day, and I've always got something new, early, exclusive, and exciting coming out very soon.